Hello and welcome to my Yu-Gi-Oh channel, so make sure to subscribe for more daily Yu-Gi-Oh content. Today we're looking at some TCG Premier cards that are coming from Blazing Vortex. They're called the ROCK Archetype and the Materiactors. The first card is Rock Forshire. It's an Earth Attribute Warrior type level 4 with 1700 attack and 1700 defense. If your Earth Warrior monster battles after damage calculation, you can add one Warrock card from your deck to your hand, except Rock Forshire. Then all Warrock monsters you currently control gain 200 attack until the end of your opponent's turn. If this card is sent from your monster zone to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon one at level 5 or higher Warrock monster from your deck or your hand. You can only use each effect of Rock Forshire once per turn. Okay, so from this card it has a decent stat lineup, balanced in both its attack and defense. It being a level 4 is okay. You're able to search for a Warrock card every time an Earth Attribute Warrior monster attacks, so this can consistently do that, and it's not, it doesn't have any conditions based on that other than it has to meet that requirement of being a Warrock card. It doesn't have to be a specific monster. It could be a monster, a spell, or a trap within that archetype. The stat boost is really small. It's 200 attack, so that's not actually that useful. You've got things like the Allied Forces, which basically do the same thing, and that's even better because that's per monster you have on the field that's a warrior type. The secondary part of the effect, if this card is gotten rid of by a card effect, being able to special summon one of your higher Warrock monsters is actually quite useful, because they will have their own effects which can then boost up more of the stat lineup. Warrior Rock Gaptoes is an Earth Attribute Warrior type monster with 1900 attack and 1900 defense. It's also a level 4. If an Earth Warrior monster is normal summoned to your field, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is sent from your monster zone to your graveyard by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon one level 5 or higher Rock monster from your hand or deck. You can only use the effect of Rock Gaptoes once per turn. Again, this helps to just establish the field presence, because if you're summoning another one of your Warrock monsters, this will meet the condition. This is also then able to summon a higher level Warrock monster should your opponent ever get rid of this card by a card effect, so it helps to punish your opponent. The next card is Warrock Skylar. It's an Earth Attribute Warrior type level 6 with 2200 attack and 2200 defense. It gains 100 attack for each monster your opponent controls. During a battle phase in which your Earth Attribute Warrior type monster battles, as a quick effect, you can target one level 5 or lower warrior monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Also, all Warrock monsters you currently control gain 200 attack until the end of your opponent's turn. Also, for the rest of this turn, you cannot attack directly with level 5 or lower monsters. You can only use this effect with Warrock Skylar once per turn. So, to start off with, for a level 6, balanced attack and defense, it's fine. At most, it will have 2700 attack if your opponent has 5 monsters. If you included their extra monster zone, that could be potentially 2800 attack. Being able to revive one of your Earth Attribute Warrior monsters is okay, because that happens whenever those cards attack, so it's not conditional on anything. They do have to be level 5 or lower, so you are getting some of your weaker monsters, but it does pass on the extra 200 attack points boost to all your Warrock monsters, so they're potentially even the weaker ones might be able to get over some of your opponent's stronger monsters, but it does punish you in that they cannot attack directly, so you might actually want to get rid of your opponent's monsters first with the lower level monsters, and then maybe attack with this card directly, so you bypass the weakness of this effect. The next card is Rock Orcis. It's an Earth Attribute Warrior type at level 5 with 2100 attack and the same in defense. If you control no monsters or all monsters you control are warrior type monsters, you can normal summon this card without tributing. If your Earth Warrior monster battles after damage calculation, you can send one Earth Warrior monster from your deck to your graveyard, except Rock Orcis, and all Rock monsters you currently control gain 200 attack until the end of your opponent's turn. You can only use this effect with Rock Orcis once per turn. Okay, so this is able to just summon itself automatically, so it's a little bit like a Cyber Dragon, but it is a normal summon. Or if you have just warrior type monsters on your field, if you're running this style of deck, you would be doing that anyway. It's very easy to meet that condition. It's able to Foolish Barrel one of your monsters, so that's good. You can maybe access it later, or revive it with something like Call of the Haunted, and then you're able to then increase your Warrock monsters by a further 200 attack. Basically, most of them have that kind of effect, so they're steadily increasing your Warrock's attack stat up. And the boss monster is Rock Orcis. It's an Earth attribute warrior type level 8 with 2700 attack and 2700 defense. During a battle phase in which your Earth attribute warrior type monster battles, as a quick effect, you can activate this effect. This card can attack directly this turn. Also, all Warrock monsters you currently control gain 200 attack until the end of your opponent's turn. When this card is in your hand or graveyard, when your Earth warrior monster is destroyed by battle, you can special summon this card and banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use each effect of Rock Orcis once per turn. So with this card, it's able to attack directly. That can be quite useful. That could be attack the game. And based on the stat lineups of your monsters, they're going to constantly be pumping each other up. Being able to do this, potentially over 3000 points of damage, is no small feat. And doing this means you're able to game your opponent then and there. Alternatively, actually, if this card is either in the hand or the graveyard, you can just summon this really easily. If one of your Earth warrior monsters is destroyed by battle, meeting that condition isn't a problem. And even if you were to just set pass and this card was waiting in your hand, you've got no conditions you have to meet, you don't have to tribute any monsters, it just has to be an Earth warrior monster. So it's a very simplistic boss monster to get out. Downside is it being as simplistic as that means it is prone to negation effects or means of getting rid of it through other means. Warrock Mountain is a field spell card with the effect, when this card is activated, you can add one Warrock monster from your deck to your hand. At the start of the battle phase, if you control no monsters or all monsters you control are warrior monsters, you can special summon one Warrock monster from your hand with a different name than the cards you control. If your warrior monster would be destroyed by battle, you can send this card to the graveyard instead. You can only activate one Warrock Mountain per turn. So again, like most archetypal field spells, they're able to then search out for one of the cards when they're activated. That's the same with this. You're also able to special summon a monster if you don't have any on your field, or if you've got just warrior monsters on the field, so you're able to establish board much faster and then go into your various plays. And also it does provide you with a form of battle protection. Not always the most useful thing. There are cards such as this body which can do that much better, but if you're looking for an archetypal version, this is what you've got. Rock Ordeal is a continuous spell card, and the effect is you can only control one Rock Ordeal. When this card is activated, you place 3 counters on it. When your Warrock monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can remove 1 counter from this card, and if you do, draw 1 card. If the last counter has been removed by this effect, send this card to the graveyard. So this card lets you draw 3 cards, so it is better than something like Boss of Greed. Trouble is, it does rely on you destroying your opponent's monster by battle before you can use this effect. It is very similar to something like Breakdraw, that's a machine type version of this effect. The difference is that that card actually only lasts 3 of your turns, whereas this lasts for as many turns as you have counters on this card. You can add more counters on this, I think, if you just have some of those types of cards, but the problem with this card is, your opponent is going to see this effect and is going to either get rid of this, or they're going to find a means of stopping you from destroying their monsters in battle, and it's also quite slow, whereas something like the Reckless Greed can let you draw the cards immediately. This has the downside of being too battle reliant. Reinforcement of the Army Troops is a continuous spell card with the effect, when an attack is declared involving your warrior type monster, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower warrior monster from your hand. You can only use this effect of Reinforcement of the Army's Troops once per turn. So this is a little bit like Rota, Reinforcement of the Army. but a continuous spell card version, because rather than searching for the card, you're just able to special summon from the hand. The more you're able to do this, the more actual field presence you have, the more likely you are to be able to put pressure on your opponent and then end the game. The good thing is it also works well with the allied forces, because that gives 200 attack per warrior type monster you've got on the field. So even if you're looking at just one monster on the field, you use this effect. And this is when an attack is declared. It's not when your monster has destroyed a card in battle, so it's actually more progressive than Rock Ordeal as an effect. You're then able to then special summon another monster, and that means your monsters then gain an extra 400 attack. And as for those were the last of those cards. Now we're looking at the Materiactor cards. This is yugioh. It's a dark attribute dragon type rank 3 Xyz monster with 500 attack and 500 defense. It requires 2 level 3 monsters. It gains 500 attack and defense for each card in your hand. You can only use each of the following effects of Materiactor yugioh once per turn. You can attach one material from this card, attach one Materiactor monster from your deck to this card as material. During your opponent's main or phase or battle phase, as a quick effect, you can add one card attached to this card to the hand. So this card can become quite big, even though it starts off with mediocre attack and defense. So if you've got a full hand, 6 cards in your hand, that's 3,500 attack and defense monster. Of course, if you don't have many resources, it's a very weak monster. Being able to attach a monster from the deck as opposed to from your hand, and then being able to recover that card is very useful. Traditionally, searching cards are quite slow or have conditions, which means you can't do anything with them. They might have effects which negate their own effects or stop you from going from the battle phase. There are no conditions as to what this card can do. It's simply a case of detaching and reattaching cards. And the final card is Materiactor yugioh. It's a dark attribute dragon type level 3 with 1000 attack and 1000 defense. You can discard one card to special summon one level 3 normal monster from your hand or deck, or if you discarded a normal monster to activate this effect, you can special summon one Materiactor monster instead. You can only use this effect on Materiactor yugioh once per turn. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except Xyz monsters. So the whole purpose is just to go into your Xyz monster. For the time being, we are yet to really see what these cards can do other than this small interaction with them. 2 cards is not enough to draw a conclusion as to how powerful they could be, but definitely I know this for sure. If they've got 2 cards for this, they will be coming out of future sets, because they're not going to leave it as just these 2 cards. At the very least, they're going to need a couple of level 3s so they can make up the Xyz monster.